Welcome to Men Pushing 60, the podcast. We are a community of men born in the 1960s and 70s. Whether you're approaching 60 or you are already there, this show is for you. Here we talk about where we've been, what we're doing now, and what we're building for the years ahead. The wins, the lessons, the challenges, and the opportunities. We bring honesty, purpose, and humor to every conversation. Whatever version of 60 you are pushing, you belong here. We're glad you're with us. Welcome.
All right. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Men Pushing 60. Today with me from the clockwise around, I have Brian, Mark, and Kevin, and myself. I'm Carlo. If you are looking for familiar stories, if you are a man and you're looking for familiar stories and you were born 5+ decades ago, and you are pushing the age of 60, or you are already 60, pushing that 60-year-old rock up that hill to whatever's next, this podcast is for you. We are glad you're here. So today is going to be, again, I struggle with the names, right? But this is going to be the nobody told us when we turn 60, or we're turning 60 and nobody told us, or we're pushing 60 and what next. We'll come up with a good name, but we're going to talk about all those things today. And it's going to be fun, maybe a little bit serious, but I think getting to this age, and I think this was kind of the what's the word, impetus for this podcast, is that I don't think there's a lot of resources for us out there. I get this weird AARP magazine, and I don't know what they're selling me in there. I think that's the only only thing I have that really talks about kind of men aging, right? We talk about this amongst ourselves about how when you turn 50, everybody's like, hey, yeah, it's a big celebration. And then you're like, you've made it. This is great. You look great. Then you turn 60 and they're like, oh, you're 60. Oh, you look good. You're like, it's like, it's okay. I mean, this is this weird gap between 50 and 60. 50, you're feeling great. You're still in this uptick, but then all of a sudden, I think it's a steeper decline. I'm talking about myself, right? And it comes up soon. And I think that when you turn 60, I think it is this weird inflection point, and you have to start thinking about, how can I stop that aging process? How can I stop? How do I, mitigate what's going to happen to me, or what is happening to me? Or maybe you press the pause button. You're like, crap, like mentally, physically, I'm changing how I do things. And I totally feel like this is how I feel. I totally feel like when I turn 60, I'm like, I can do whatever the F I want right now. I like what I like, and I don't have to apologize for it. And that's okay. But with that also, every time I bend down, I go, those are the things that kind of came with with turning 60, and again, this is what we're going to talk about today. Just all those little things, like how I've changed when I walk into a building, right? I'm always like, how do I get out of here? Is there a fire exit? Like when I go to a restaurant, I have to sit facing the door. And I'm like, in case somebody comes in with a gun, I don't know what my rationale is. I don't know what like crazy is going on in my brain. I need to know where the bathroom is, and I need to know where the exit is. These are the two things I need to know when I go into a building. If there's going to be a fire, but there's never been a fire. It's kind of like that thing. I never had to stop, drop, and roll either. But I looked this up, and so the life expectancy, this is kind of tying on what we talked about. The life expectancy of a male 20 in the United States is 76 and a half years. So, part of, I think, maybe for me turning 60 is coming to grips with my own mortality, right? I think that there is a termination point coming up. Hopefully it's not soon, but I don't know. I don't know when that is. I mean, statistically speaking, I have 16 years left and 10 good summers. That's right. But I'm going to do what I want, and I'm not going to apologize for it. I like what I like. I am going to live my life. But to get there, and kind of what we're talking about today, is that I don't think nobody told us about this. Like, my dad didn't sit me down and say, Gato, you're going to be 60. Here's what's going to happen. There's no TV show.
There's no manual.
There's no manual, right?
There's definitely no manual. All right, I'm sorry. I went off my soapbox there for a minute, but that's what we're going to talk about today. And so, Kevin, what do you got? What do you want to talk about?
There's a million things in this topic, but I think that the biggest thing you said, it's kind of like the differences in the way your thought process works, right? When you were 20, you jump, you ride your bike, you go, just the physical stuff that you would just go and do. And now you're like, do I want to go, like you did a couple of weeks ago, do I want to go skiing? Like that's probably going to hurt. I'm probably going to come away with you're more worried about like, where's the bathroom? Where's the exit?
When you were 20, you were just like, oh, I wonder what the special is. And now you're sort of thinking about everything a little differently. And it's not a bad thing. It's just you have wisdom, you have perspective. What's the great quote, right? The difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is knowing the tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. Yeah. You're smarter now, right? So you know things now. You're more aware now. You're not 20 going, is it a fruit? Well, you've picked stuff up. And so you have to lean on the experiences you've gathered and then decide, listen, my knee hurt when I woke up. Maybe I shouldn't go play basketball. Or maybe, on our other podcast, if you go back and listen, this is cross-promotional to the other podcasts. If you haven't listened to them, you really should go. Mark talks about playing hockey and what that's like and how much longer can you do those things. There's the expiration date on a lot of the stuff that we always took for granted, that now you have to sort of really, whether you want to do or not, you just think about it differently. And you're right. There's no manual. There's a parenting book you can buy. There's a baby names book, but there's no, here's how to manage your 60-year-old self. You got to figure that shit out on your own, especially if
we're not reading it anyway. If it didn't come out. Anyway,
yeah. We don't read directions and manuals.
We have to learn it, right? That's kind of, I think, what part of this is about, is us learning all of this.
Yeah. Well, and I'll give you one more and then I'll pass it off to either Brian or Mark or whoever. But, it's one of those things that you've got the whole thing about the things that you were taught in school. You mentioned the quicksand. There's no quicksand anywhere. There isn't. You thought there was going to be every TV show you watch as a kid, right? There was the quicksand. The other one that I always thought was, if you crack your knuckles, you're going to get arthritis. Well, now I go to the chiropractor and the guy charges me $50 to crack my whole body. The whole thing was a lie. Yes. And it's going in your permanent record, kid. There's no permanent record.
There's no permanent record. You're gonna get a job. You go interviewing for a job, and they're looking back. Well, in second grade.
Yeah, in your permanent record, it says here that you put gum in Susie's hair. Did you know about that? Anyway,
to say that there's no manual, I saw something today on the generations, and right before us, to your point, Carlo, our dads didn't talk to us about this. Is not a conversation because the baby boomers don't talk about anything, right? They work hard. They worked at a job their entire life. They didn't change jobs. And then the generations after us, I saw one of them that said something about self-help. They're in touch with their emotions. They practice self-care. So we are sandwiched in the middle of the people that sometimes are a little too squishy and the baby boomers who saved the world in fighting World War II and never spoke about it. They were the toughest MFers out there. And now we've got people that practice self-care, which that's one of those words like deconstruct, self-care. When you hear those words, my antenna go up, and that means that somebody is looking for a scam or they're trying to get an extra day off or
they're going to be calling out on Mondays.
There you go. That's it.
My self-care now is I have to shave my ears. I get hair coming out of places that I don't know where. Can't grow in my head, but apparently I have these eyebrows. And I woke up the other day, this hair coming out of the side of my face. I'm like, what the F is that? Like, where did that come from? It's crazy. I'm like, look, I have to put my glasses on to shave because I'm like, I got to see where shit's coming out.
Your vision's going.
I'll go have beers with you guys. I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me? It's because you guys can't fucking see, so it doesn't matter. So nobody's noticing it. I'm sorry.
So, Mark, just to play off what you just said there for a second, we talk about it's kind of we're in between those generations, right? I think about turning 60, you're in between your career and your retirement, and you're starting to turn towards that, and your perspective, as we've said, changes.
Amen.
And I find work has become more and more difficult as you get closer to the, getting out.
Yeah, the finish line.
It's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to show up.
Just when you think you're out.
Yeah,
they pull you back in. That's from the movie quote episode. If you haven't listened to that one, you should probably go listen to the movie quote episode.
You have to be careful not to look at the finish line. Like the guy that got beat in the marathon, the guy that came up on him and beat him in the last 7 inches. So it's the same with us. Like we're getting close, but I'm not sure that we're that close that you can start, like I'm going to start coasting and I think I can make it to the promised land. I don't know. I try not to do that. Like I go to work every day. I do my job. I try to let the bullshit roll, like to Kevin's point, what was it? Knowledge and wisdom.
Knowledge and wisdom, baby.
It's the epitome of all these cliche things we've heard all of our lives as they just get better and better. There's none of that stuff you can control. I got fired this week by a customer. I had a younger person that I work with. This is another old man thing. She's younger. She's a millennial. She said, I have to be careful what I eat and drink during the day because I never know where I'm going to find a bathroom. As a 60-year-old guy that's been on the road in sales for 30 years, I know every bathroom, clean or emergency, in Eastern Massachusetts. I can find the medical office building, a satellite hospital, or the cleanest gas station in a pinch to go to the bathroom because I've got a prostate that's probably the size of a grapefruit nowadays. And those are some of the things that you picked up. That isn't a badge of honor. I hate that I had to say that as though that was somehow a good thing.
Nobody told
I
nobody
don't
told
worry
you.
about having a bottle of water or an extra cup of coffee because I know where I'm going. I'm never going to be
Nobody
without.
told you, Mark, that you're going to pee every 8 minutes.
I
when
have
you get
always
older.
relied
I'm sorry.
on
This
the
is what it is,
kindness
guys.
of
If you
others.
don't, if you're not,
That lines.
if you're not, yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Go ahead,
Brian,
Carl.
sorry.
I was
No,
going to say
go
that also lines up with another one. Everything now is about our health. All 24/7. Our health. Our health. Something hurts. Like it's just insane. Like, what have we become? We're just like medical focused. You know.
You just eat something. You want to eat that cheeseburger. And you're like, oh, what the fuck? What is this going to do to me? Like, you have to think every time you go to put something in your mouth, you're thinking about
I
it. You're
want
just
that?
like, oh, son of a bitch. Like, pizza. Oh, I haven't had it yet this week, so now I can have a slice. Like, I only had it once or something. Oh, this salt intake's going to kill me. I don't know.
Were we also the generation, though, that we grew up with, I think, processed food, right? 2 incomes. Mums and dads started working. So Hamburger Helper and all of that type of stuff, there's a shameless plug for Hamburger Helper. But the processed crap that was pushed through the maybe late 60s, 70s, now we're coming full circle. You should be eating nothing that, if it has an ingredient list, kind of like the can of potato crisps that some people choose to eat, don't eat it. Right? We're back in the other direction is just like eating normal things. But we lived and grew up in that generation where food came out of a box. Everything was overcooked. It wasn't very tasty. Like, you realize, maybe this is also something that you realize at this point in our life, that food is something that is to be enjoyed. I'm not just going to put something crap in my body. Or if I am, I'm going to know I'm going to suffer the consequences. But you plan. You want to have a good meal. If you see your kids, you want to go to a nice place. Or you want to make a good meal on your fancy flat top in the backyard when you've mastered it and you don't burn everything on it. Like Kevin warned me before I make that plunge into the world of flat top cooking. I'm still grilling. But
isn't that what we're talking about today? Like, kind of, you own that. Like, own that you get to eat what you want, do what you want, and don't apologize for what you're doing and how you're doing it, but understand what you're doing because of the wisdom of years. But then I saw this, I think it was in Defense of Food. It was like a PBS show, and the guy says everything in moderation, including moderation, right? So so you're doing what you're doing, and you're going to moderate all this stuff. But sometimes go eat a bag of Doritos if that makes you feel good. Like, maybe not, but that used to be I love chips. Chips is my vice, right? So, but
Our problem was we grew up in a generation that the food pyramid was designed by the food industry. So we ate they were pushing all that crap. I mean,
right. How about eggs are bad for you, cholesterol, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And now egg is like a superfood, right? And there was no superfood back then.
Like
Superfood
margarine.
was like a Twinkie.
We grew up with margarine. We didn't have butter. We had margarine.
Fucking hate margarine.
Yeah, it's gross.
It's disgusting.
But that's what they were told. It was better than butter. It was less fat.
I got news for you. It's not.
That was R.J.
Absolutely not.
Reynolds or Nabisco or Philip Morris were telling you. That was the cigarettes of the food pyramid. They were jacking everything
Remember
up.
cigarettes?
They were chemically altering it so that you would eat more of it, you would crave more of it. And then they're in cahoots with the drug manufacturers to turn everybody into a diabetic.
Can we
Get the
back up a step?
diabetes.
Can we back up a step? What was that comment, Kevin?
Cigarettes. Remember
cigarettes?
Lung darts.
The only past smoker in the group.
Yeah, no, I used to smoke it. I think
Wisdom
a
of
pack
your years
cigarettes
is telling
now,
you. No,
it's
not
like
good.
$14 in Massachusetts for a pack of cigarettes. I think somebody told me that they were when they bought. I'm like, well, I can't even. Yeah, and somebody I know recently was telling me that they know somebody that's like goes through 2 packs a day.
Yeah,
do that math. I can't even do it.
Wow.
My brain hurts from how much money you spend on tobacco products.
I was out today and I saw a guy on the side of the road.
Addiction.
You know the signs, right? Homeless, anything helps, and he's ripping a butt. And that's exactly what I thought to myself, Kevin, is the $14 that you're going to smoke over the next, 2 hours or a day or so, you could have bought a couple of Happy Meals at McDonald's. And if you're hungry, you know what you can do instead of smoking? go get a couple of meals for yourself. But
Superfood.
yeah.
The other thing,
Walk up to the taco takeout. Sorry.
the other thing just on the change is that you spent like a whole bunch of your time between 20 and 60 in the working world, the career ladder, climbing it up. You spent a lot of your time, like, yeah, you raised a family in there probably too. A lot of us did. But, I was thinking about this the other day. So some of us, without mentioning any names, aren't exactly gainfully employed at this point. We've either self-selected out or been
Downsized.
voluntold to get the fuck out. One or the other or both. And so it's what you spent your whole time doing. And now you're sitting there going, well, having some distance from that. And I know a couple of us are still working, you're still putting in the time and it's fine. But, what do you want to spend your time doing? Climbing the ladder, sucking up to the boss. Like, all that's Brian, to your point, like, it's getting a little stale. It's getting a little old. It's like going through the motions, going to the meetings. Somebody asked me the other day, like, I'm not actively working. Do you miss it? I'm doing some consulting stuff, but I'm like, here's what I don't miss. Stupid meetings, stupid topics, stupid people. Like, just the stupidity of, and all the catchphrase buzzwords. Well, let's circle back on that and put a pin in it. And,
we got to remove the stovepipes.
And we got a level set on this project because, keep it simple, stupid. And all this, like, that's the other thing nobody told you. You have to learn a whole, like, vernacular language for, the working world. But just now, to your point, Carla, you spend time sort of not worrying about, am I getting ahead at work? Am I climbing the ladder? What do I want to do? What do I want to spend my time doing? My leisure time, how many summers do I have left? How many, it's not like you're worried about dying, but it's just like you have this different perspective on the time ahead of you, which is when you're 20, you don't even think about it. You got so much time. Right. And then
time is your currency.
Right. And so what you have. To quote Ferris Bueller, if I might, life moves pretty fast. You got to stop and look around sometime or you just might miss it. Yes. And if you haven't seen the movie episode, you should go see the movie episode.
No, but time is your currency. And I saw this post. It was great. It's not one more day. It's one less day. Don't apologize for what you want to do. You want to knit hats for dogs? Go for it. If that makes you happy, right? If it's like, oh, you haven't seen the Eiffel Tower, you don't know what you're missing.
Hats
yeah, I do.
Bats.
It's a big freaking steel tower. Great. It's like, I like fishing. I want to spend the rest of my days freaking standing in the ocean fishing, and I'm not going to apologize for it. Occasionally, I'll put some other shit in there, but I like being outdoors. I like gardening. I'm going to get chickens again. And if anybody doesn't like that, anybody doesn't like that, too fucking bad.
Have you seen the price of
eggs,
Kevin?
Marijuana omelets? Is that where we're headed? You're going pot and eggs?
And weed. I'm going to feed weed to chickens.
The other piece, going back to what Kevin was saying about work, it's also ageism is real. Like, you don't realize it till you get there. I mean, most of us in our 60s working for a company, we're targets. We're the highly compensated employee that costs the company a lot of money. It's the reality. It really
Double-edged
is.
sword. Yeah.
I've never used ageism in a sentence until I turned, pushing 60. You realize that you don't care. Yeah. You don't even think about it. And then all of a sudden it's like, holy crap, it's real.
Well, I used to bark about the old people at work, like, what does that guy do all day? I used to have this guy that walked around the office with a coffee cup, and he would just saunter through the hallways, and he'd say, this is my management by walking around. That's my style. And he would do fucking nothing all day long except
he'd come up to
wander around telling stupid stories to people. I'm like, why? And he was like the controller or something like that. He had like a real job, like financial. I'm like, what does he do? What do we pay that guy for? And
I'm
now
need you to come
walk in
in
the hallways
on
going,
Saturday. I'm going to need you to come in on Saturday.
You could go ahead.
Office space?
Yeah. So, now you're one of those people, and it's like, am I adding a lot of value to it? I think you care less. I mean, you care, but you don't care about getting ahead as much. You don't care about how everything's perceived as much. You just, to your point, Carl, I don't give a shit what people think as much as I once did.
I don't think you defend your territory as much as you used to. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I do. Mm-hmm. Stay in your own. You're kind of like, you want to do that? It's a pain in the ass. You can take it.
Well, and somebody told me it's like at some point you cross a line, I don't know where it is, where you want to get paid for what you know and not what you do.
Right.
And so you should go from, an individual contributor to, hey, I'm coaching the next generation. I'm giving advice. I'm giving counsel. The years of my wisdom is what you should be paying me for. And I think as a younger person, you don't appreciate that until you get here and you're like,
right.
It shouldn't be how many, whatever. How many spreadsheets I filled out or how many tasks I finished. It's more like, am I helping the younger salesperson, Mark, or the younger financial analyst, or the younger whatever it is, just to move along. That should be part of the transition. I don't think that you necessarily have that in your job description, nor do I think that they're compensating you specifically for that. But that should be part of it.
Right.
To back up 2 steps about what you were saying, I think about not caring what You just think, not caring what people think, but you also have to realize that nobody gives a shit about what you think either. Don't like, do you know what I mean? Everybody's no, and I don't say that from a work perspective, but I say that from the thing. People get so wrapped around the axle, like, oh my God, so and so did this or did that. Like nobody fucking cares. Everybody's so wrapped up in their own world, in their own shit, that they just nobody cares. And it's a hard lesson to learn, right? And especially for this whole generation with social media and everything. Oh, I got to post this. How do I look? What am I doing? You realize that. It's in it. The attention span is like, for those who can't see me putting my fingers together like an inch, like the attention span is so short. Nobody fucking cares. And so we got to stop thinking about like, wear what you want, do what you want, eat what you want, say what you want, be what you want. Don't piss people off on purpose, right? But I'm just saying, be you.
That can be fun sometimes too.
I finding that I'm pissing people off without even doing anything. I'm like, what did I do?
Not even trying.
What did I do?
Oh, it's just Brian being Brian again.
We'll have to have a session on that, Brian. How to balance that.
You were breathing too loud. You were chewing too loud.
You can't say that. You can't say that.
Well, Carla, I think you've heard me say this before. Like, what's everybody's favorite subject? Themselves. Right? So everybody's so wrapped up in their own stuff. Like, nobody cares about you. Like, everybody's focused on themselves. Nobody gives a shit about what you were saying or what meeting you had. Like, I don't know.
This is another one of those generational things, though, too. One of the things, like, so those words, it keys me in. I'm going to get ready that somebody younger than me is going to say something stupid. This is another one. I want to be heard. It's like, no, you're 30. I don't want to hear anything that you have to say because it's unlikely to bring any value. Or I want you
you are an old fuck, aren't you?
Here's another one. I want you to meet me where I am. I don't want to meet you anywhere. I don't want anything to do. I've been where you are. You have not been where I am. I know what you're saying is ragtime. I don't need to listen to it. I don't need to meet you there. You can live in your own stupidity. You can wallow in it if you want. But you should be taking advantage of, Kevin, you said something. I look back on it. We want to be the mentors of the younger people that we work with. I don't know how many opportunities I must have missed because I was 30 thinking I knew it all. I didn't know the terms meet me where I was or wanting to be heard, but thought that I knew it all. And there were probably some 45 and 50 and 55-year-olds that I worked with that I didn't say, you know what, can I get a cup of coffee and just listen to you yammer about something? Like, I thought I knew it, and now I look back on it, and they knew it. And I probably didn't avail myself of some wisdom that may have got me another promotion, another job, another something or other, but I missed out on it. Because it's not like it shows up in front of you like they say, hey, I'm putting my hands up like I got a placard. Hey, this guy is a wealth of knowledge. Spend your time with him. If you're not paying attention, kind of like Ferris Bueller said, if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss it.
And this is why the present generation's screwed, because they're working from home, so they're not even getting that interaction. I don't know how people grow in a company now if they're working from home.
Yeah,
there's no learning.
Not even grow in a company, but just grow as an individual. Grow as like you need the exposure to the generation. It doesn't have to be old farts like us, but if you're 20, you're learning from a 30. If you're 30, you learn from the people that came before
peers.
you. I think
your peer group.
Yeah, even learning from peers that are talented. I also
we promote this on every sports team. They're like, when the rookie joined, and he's going to learn from all the veterans. But we don't say that in other jobs. If you join a job and you're young, it's like you're competing with that guy. You want him to go down, and you want to take his job. You don't want to learn from them. It's really interesting. It's the system's broken, right? The system.
It is, and it's funny. I used to work for this Australian company, actually the company that operated the movie theaters, and there was this guy who was a leader at the company that was Australian, and he left, and he was the COO, and he reached out to me and he said, hey, listen, I'm interviewing for jobs, and at my level, they want to know that I've coached, mentored, brought people along. Can I put you down as somebody that as a subordinate? They don't want to talk to your peers, they don't want to talk to your bosses. He wanted to ask if he could put me down as a reference for somebody that he's brought along on his journey. I'm like, absolutely. And I said nothing but great and wonderful things. But that's unique. I mean, that was the first time I'd ever had anybody ever reached below your station to say, hey, can you speak about my work qualifications in this regard? And I took it personally. I mean, if you think about your work experiences, somebody probably took an interest in all of us somewhere along the line and said, hey, come with me, kid. I'll show you how to do it.
You definitely remember those people.
And you remember those. And so, that now it's, you're paying it back. So Mark, when you see that 30-year-old punk, don't brush them off. Take them under your wing. Be gentle and kind.
Yes.
until they piss you off, and then then
So this is Mark therapy today. This is
Until I
Mark
have to
therapy.
meet
Mark,
them
what
where
else?
they are.
Talk to us about how you feel about that, Mark. Tell us how you feel. How you tell
So
us how
this
you really
we've
feel.
talked about this though. We have a very low bullshit tolerance,
Yes.
right? We are at. I mean, if they have some self-awareness and some understanding that they don't know it all, I'm with you. I've been a sales manager for way more years than I would and never rose above. So way more years than I would care to recount. So I've certainly done it. I'm not averse to doing it, but I also realize where my time can be spent. And if there's somebody that is willing to be mentored, did you realize, Kevin, at the time, back to your Aussie guy, did you realize at the time that he was going to be that impactful and that he was going to reach out to you as he moved on and said, I would like to list you as somebody that I worked with and hoped that I helped you develop within this organization or just, in generating life skills? Did you know it at the time or did you look back on it and said,
I don't want to go into too deep, but this is like a pivotal moment in my personal career. And I actually wrote him a letter a couple of years back because I was in some sort of other work thing. We had to write to somebody that had an impact on your life. And I remember the day he gave me a job. He took me out of finance, put me in operations, and said, "We're going to give you a company car. We're going to bump your pay." He's like, "We're going to put you out there. I know you don't know what you're doing. You're smart. You're going to figure it out. You're going to make more decisions in a day than you probably made in the last week." He's like, "You're going to half of them wrong. Try not to make the same mistake twice. Call me if you need me. Good luck."
That's awesome. That's great.
And then when I needed him, he answered the phone. And he put me on a path that I was never going to be on. So yes, I knew it at the time.
You realized it, okay.
And so I also think, you learn things from every situation. In this situation, I learned that that wasn't a good fit for me. I did it for 2 years and I knew that wasn't a good role. But I learned he was right. I made more decisions in a day than I made in a month prior to that, and it just put you on a different path. So yes, at the time I knew it. I didn't know how impactful it was going to be. So there are moments like that. And I think, we're talking about all the stuff that nobody told us about when we were younger. And I think a lot of times you think, well, nobody's told me I was going to be in pain. But nobody also told me that I was going to be coaching and in a position to help, the next generation move along. And I think that's an important part of, the aging process. You have to take those opportunities. At least I felt it was important at the time for my development. And I have not stopped to try anyway to pay that back to some of the folks that have worked for me in the past. It matters.
Not to get real
totally
deep
agree.
and squishy, but it sounds like that was as much of a personal development and coach, because you said you didn't like the job. So professionally, it may not have been, the best thing, but his advice and what he identified in you and the things that you had to do, even though it may not have been operational, you didn't climb an operational job track, but those skills, those life skills,
For sure. I lean on those the rest of my career.
A dad or an uncle, for the rest of your life, that guy gave you advice, let you fail without feeling like shit, and I'm sure got you to, you knew what you didn't want to do. I don't know what I want to do, but I know what I don't want to do, and it's operations. But it starts to fine tune. You start to get herded in a certain direction. I've got this skill. I've got my likes and dislikes, and I don't know what I want to do yet, but I feel like I'm getting closer. I know I don't want to do ops.
And you managed that opportunity well, obviously, with that guy and everything you did to
Yeah,
kind of get
it worked
to
out
that
great. I will
level.
say the one thing I didn't mention, then we can move on to something else, is I said, well, what if I don't want to take this job? And he said, well, we're backfilling the role that you're leaving, so I'm not sure.
All right, then.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
That's it. Closing time. That was it. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great.
Change gears a little. One of the other things I thought of, not job related, but no one told us that we'd still be highly involved in critical decisions with our kids and our parents. Like, we are the squeeze generation
Sandwich.
of critical decisions. Like, whether they go into a nursing home or assisted living, whether they should buy a house down in Richmond, Virginia, or all those things. They really rely on us.
Absolutely. I lost my dad. My mother's alone now. And my brother and my sister and I we're a great team, and we try to manage that. But nobody told us that these are decisions. You just think you're going to get old and, hey, it's going to be great. We're going to do this. You retire. And it's not like that at all. There's
Talk about a
constant
lack of an
decision
operator's
making.
manual for a situation. Nobody tells you how to navigate any of that shit. I mean, we've all had friends that have had parents die, or we've had parents die ourselves. And there's no manual. There's no place to go. You start asking people, like, what do I do? How'd you do it? And then you go, oh, okay, I didn't think of that. Great, thanks.
Sadly, Kevin, it's easier for them to be dying than it is to them be in a situation where they need help 24/7.
For sure.
And all that's a nightmare.
These are the types of future resources that the Men Pushing 60 community will have on their website as we move forward, because I think these are integral in what we're talking about. All of these things, we need to have resources for people. I think this is what we're talking about, and why this podcast came to be was just to talk about all of these things. Yeah, we yuck it up a lot too, but there's a lot of serious stuff that we can talk about to help the other folks that are just like us, right? So it's a lot, and never mind the expense. Right. I've heard some crazy stories about what it costs for care, and where do people get those dollars? It's crazy.
Cost. I thought you were talking about what we all spent in college tuition for our children and what I could have acquired for that amount of money. I heard
talking about being retired already.
There's a college that has, I think it's
did it willingly.
George Washington, $98,000 a year, so it's pushing $100,000.
How is that sustainable?
I know, and I know I'm in that category with all of you, that I sometimes just spitball and I look at the amount of money that went out to some university somewhere in this country, and yeah, I'm with you, Brian. I think I would have been retired if I had that amount of money back, and it was generating interest for the last 10 years now.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Although, would I have saved it? Or would I have pissed through it because I didn't have anything to put it toward?
You would have been part of the system. You would have bought a bigger house, a bigger.
You spend what you make. I mean, that's the thing nobody tells you.
Spend to the edge. That's the that's
and to the end. Yeah,
we're tuition bill sharpens your focus on the amount of money that you need to earn. Come hell or high water, I've got to make that tuition bill payment. I think I'm not sure about all of us. I'll speak for myself. Is that we financed our kids? We didn't finance. We paid for our kids' education. So when those tuition bills would come due, I think Brian one time asked me, said, is this tuition bill for the year or for a semester? And I said, that's just one semester. There's another one coming. It's not for the year. Those hurt.
It was serious topics today.
Yeah.
I was going to
somebody tell a joke for God's sake.
Yeah, I was going to go with like something that nobody told me I was pushing 60, that I'd have like a favorite coffee mug or something like that. I was thinking like nobody told me how wet I would be to my lovely coffee mug, or the fact that I think I mentioned to you guys before that I don't like mismatched socks. I think that I didn't care earlier in my life.
Is that a real dilemma that you're facing at 60? The mismatched socks?
I don't like mismatched socks. I don't.
Gives them an uneasy feeling.
I like a good knife. I want a good knife. I like these are little things that I feel like I've earned the right to have. And don't touch my effing knife. It doesn't go in the dishwasher. It gets hand washed.
Yes, that was more fun.
So
I got two things that nobody told me.
Kevin.
Nobody told me that Snap, Crackle, and Pop wasn't going to be a breakfast cereal. It was going to be the noise my body makes every morning at 60. So that's one little trick.
Wait, we got to pause there. I mean, that's what I was talking about. Every time you bend over, do you just go, oh, like if I can pick up something with my toes and bring it up to my hand, like bend my leg, I don't want to bend over. Like I just like,
chimp.
Jesus, we have the dog in the backyard and we throw balls to her. Instead of picking up one ball at a time, I kick them together with my feet and put them in like a little pile, so they only have to bend over once to pick them up.
That's
Genius.
Efficiency. That's wisdom.
That's wisdom right there.
I have like back anxiety before we go away. We're going to Myrtle next week, a bunch of us, and I'm like nervous about my back coming into it. Like, how am I feeling? Oh, what's that little tweak?
Yeah, I'm going to be in the boy in the plastic bubble for the next 4 days. I'm not doing anything. You guys know me. I'm always using power tools. I'm always doing something. I just did that hardwood floor in a room in my house and all these tools, and I was in traction for 48 hours. I couldn't move. I'm humping lumber up and down the stairs, like tools and carrying stuff. I'm like, I am not doing that. I'm done.
Shut that shit down. Yeah,
I've got to get ready for Myrtle. I can't do anything. I'm not going to waste those 5 days down there. I want to enjoy my golf.
Right.
Kevin, what was your other thing you said?
So the other thing is just the change in your memory. And this is like one of those things that we all laugh about. I can remember with great clarity something that happened in third grade. And I'll tell it, I remember, but I cannot remember like what I had for fucking breakfast yesterday, or
why I walked into the room,
or what the end of this sentence should be. Like I lost my train of thought mid-sentence, not in this.
How about when
case,
somebody's talking and you think of something and then you're waiting for your opportunity to say it, and then you get there and you're like,
gone.
Fuck, what was I going to say?
I say that to my wife all the time. I'm like, wait, just let me finish this thought. Put a pin in that for a second. And then I come back to her and I'm like, what were you going to say? She's like, I have no idea. I can't remember.
That's the notes function. That's what the notes function is in your phone. I write stuff down in my notes. My notes are loaded with random stuff. And then I look back at it. I'm like, why did I write that? But I'm drinking from this coffee mug that Mark got me when I turned 60. I came, I saw, forgot what I was doing. I went back, I got distracted. When did I turn 60? Is this my cup? What's going on? I have to pee. So it sums it all up right there in one sentence. But the memory thing is you're exactly right. You can,
it's amazing.
You can write song lyrics. You can all these. You think about a conversation you had in the second grade. You remember why you cried because some kid took your eraser or something.
Movie quotes from the 80s. That shit sticks with me. But something that happened last week.
I've gone to the grocery store for one thing and left without it.
You got
six other things you didn't need.
Shiny things, and it's like
impulse buy.
I'm like, ooh, that steak looks good. I wasn't there for that. I was there for something I needed. And
needed
I totally needed tape. Oh, the hardware store is the worst for me. I go in there and I love them. I need one of those. I need this. I need a sprinkler. I'm leaving with fertilizer and something else. And I went in there for nails. Like
I didn't know they had a tool for that.
I know. Look at that. It's great. And then I do the old guy thing. Nobody told me. Here's the other thing. Nobody ever told me that I just start randomly talking to people. I am like that commercial where they're turning into your dad. I just start randomly talking to people. Oh, what are you going to use that for?
I bet you guys see some really nice cars when he's talking to the
valet guy.
Valet guy.
Yeah, that's a great one. So where do you put them all? I wonder. There's a lot down the street.
Yeah, I don't know. Another thing that nobody told me. I just really want to maximize my time outside. After the time change in the winter, I never have enjoyed spring so much. The onset of spring, I think, as this year. Really, nobody tells you that going back, that losing that hour in the fall and then coming forward and suffering through the winter. And you know why old people talk about the weather. I know now why. This is why. Because you just are. It kills you every year. You don't want to shovel anymore. Especially, we grew up in New England. We're in Massachusetts. All of us have been here all of our lives. We've been tortured by this. And now at this point, you're just like, what the F am I doing here? Why am I still here? Why am I putting myself through this? I am so looking forward to spring this year. And again, it's more than ever. Nothing's changed except me. Right?
Well, this past year,
same winter, same everything, right?
No, but this is a pretty significant winter. We haven't had one of these in a while in New England, where we had snowbanks for a good month or two.
Nobody told me I'd be so cold.
Maybe the reason that we're looking forward to this spring or this summer. So we said, this is kind of deep too, right? We got 15 summers left, 15, 18 summers. But how many good ones? Brian started this with there's that phase of our life, right? So there's the go-go, then there's the slow-go, and then there's the no-go. So of those 15, that can't go. We'll have to take that out. Of the 15 summers that we have left, how many of them are going to be the ones that we're going to enjoy like this year? I don't know.
That's Bill Perkins. That's Die with
15.
Zero. That's favorite book. We can talk about that. We'll give street credit to Mr. Perkins on that one. It's a great book. If you haven't read it, it talks about all of that. And that's where it's, that's definitely a great book to read if you haven't.
Well, but Mark, to your point on our previous episode, Mark referenced backpacking through Yosemite, and you're not too old for that yet. So there's also, Brian, you talk about how you back issues. I do too. I'll go and play golf, and my wife will say, "I thought your back hurt." I'm like, my back is going to hurt tomorrow, no matter what the fuck I do. So I might as well go play golf because I guarantee you, I could just sleep wrong, and it's going to hurt just as much. So fuck it, I'm going. So I don't know how long you can keep saying, screw it. I'm going to do the whatever it is, the physical activity, but I'm not letting it go yet. I'm not.
Is the pain worth the enjoyment?
It's pain management.
Golf is that it's the time with friends. You're outside. You're playing a sport that can challenge you physically, and then after there's usually going to be a cocktail involved. So that's like the whole package of time well spent. And maybe you do have to suffer a little bit for it, or pay the price, or a couple of extra Advils. But isn't it worth it? Like that whole experience, that 3 hours.
For sure. That's what spawned this podcast.
Sure.
Mark and I talking about this, calling it group therapy. Brian, all of us in there, Kevin, with our group, just talking about that, the golf, and at the end of it, just the value of those relationships and what we do there. And I think that's how this all came to be, right? Because we've all, and again, it is the physical. We'll have the golf episode and why golf is so important in our lives. But exactly,
it might be 3 episodes actually.
It might be a lot. We just mentioned a bunch here. We're teasing the Die with Zero episode. I don't know, it's trademarked, I'm sure, but Mr. Perkins, if you want to join, knock yourself out. The golf episode, that group therapy, why all this is important for us, as Mark has so put there. We have a few years left, and if I can ask like that question about like, so I'm complaining about the winter. I'm excited for the spring, but in my my in the recesses of my brain, is it because of that? Right, you're right. Is just because I'm thinking shit. There's only a few left.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and we got here so fast. I went from 50 to 60 overnight. Right. How fast? And Brian and I were playing at the bar the other night, and somebody said, time isn't slowing down. It's speeding up.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if you guys feel that way. And it's speeding up. I totally feel that way. So I don't know about you guys.
And the winter thing is real if you live in the Northeast, right? So in your youth, snow meant maybe skiing, maybe sledding, maybe build a snowman, snowball fights. Now it's just bad driving and shoveling. I mean, the purpose is lost on us.
It's planning. There's a lot of planning. Oh, when's the weather? Is it going to snow? Is it not going to snow? Oh no, I can't go out. It's going to be bad. There's
probably these intersecting lines, right? When you were young, the benefit of snow, and now there's the detriment to snow, or whatever that word is. There's those intersections. When you were a kid, there was a lot of upside to snow. Now it's nothing but downside. It's pain. It's expense. It's delays. It's, do I even want to walk down my front steps because I could break something?
No.
I think this one broke my back. I'm literally thinking of selling the house and moving south, honestly.
This winter?
Nobody told you that there's a line in the sand that you're eventually going to cross when you've had enough.
And it's not when you are retired at 65 or 67. You can do it now, too. You don't have to wait till then.
Yeah, we were talking about that. What's the government dictated retirement age? But none of our parents have moved on. Like and I don't know if this is. I feel like it's a Massachusetts thing too. We stay. So many people I know, their parents have stayed here. We stay here forever. We wear it like a badge too, and that's just how it is. So I mean, buck the trend, Brian. Move to Florida. Yep. Move to North Carolina. Go wherever you want to go.
I don't know about Florida. I think South Carolina. That's what we're thinking.
We'll come visit often.
Absolutely. It's going to be near golf courses.
Here's my last thing. Nobody ever told me that I would use the word retirement and retirement age so many times in sentences in the last 3 to 5 years, because that's all we talk about. And I've said the system is broken before, and this is Brian and I were talking about this the other night, this government retirement age. Everybody's like, what's retirement age? And Brian's like, it's whatever the fuck you want it to be. Well, but they say like government retirement age because you get Social Security. Those are two different things. This is they've managed this system and put it on us. Again, this is my soapbox again. They've managed the system and put it on us. Says you can retire at 62 or 65. You can do whatever. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Social Security was created in 1940, and the life expectancy for a male was 67, and they had full retirement age was 65.
So you got to live 2 years on the system.
But do you remember the old people in your neighborhood that died? I mean, they retired and died within a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it was a couple houses in our neighborhood where they were all dead within a couple of years of retiring.
Well, that's what Carlos said. Like, you work your whole life, retire for a couple of years, and then you're dead. Like, that's the system. It's broken, right?
Yeah,
and that what you put in your notes section there, Carlo, about how the plan. That's how the system's supposed to work. Well, I think everybody's different, but what your capacity is for work. And I also think some people that work enjoy it. They don't think about it as work.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on what it is you're doing and who it is you're doing it with.
Should you really be using those two things in the same sentence? I'm working and I'm working and enjoying it.
I think people
working till I die. I'm going to work till I die, and I'm going to enjoy it.
I would not have left my employment opportunity had I
you
really enjoyed what I was doing.
Till you die? I mean,
it depends what you're doing. I mean, if you really like it, I know people that just love it. Look at Warren Buffett, the guy just retired at 90, whatever. Charlie Munger he's 99 for God's sakes. I mean, these people that it doesn't feel like work to them. If that's how you are, great.
Yeah, that's
not me.
Two. That's two of out of
right.
How many
two of the billionaires
of people are in the world? Okay, we can name 5 people, but for the rest of them,
and then the rest of us, you tap out when you tap out, and then it's quality of life. It's what do you want to spend your day doing? And
being the starter at a golf course.
Oh, that's my dream job. I'd be really good at it too. Hey, not yet. All right, go ahead.
I'll have one of those beers you're trying to stash in your bag, please.
Yeah.
I'll let you go. But anyway, all right. So I think we had a great conversation today. We've teased a couple future episodes. We've solved some problems and created some therapy for ourselves. And our show does have a mantra. And actually, let me back up. Any parting thoughts from everybody about our nobody told me? Anything you didn't we didn't cover that you wanted to cover? Sorry.
If we could just touch on the Dewey Decimal System for a minute.
Thank God. Nobody told me that half the stuff that I learned in school would be absolutely useless. It's just, why did they teach us this crap? Writing a letter.
I'll get really squishy. How about the fact, Brian mentioned, somebody mentioned that we're sandwiched between our kids and our parents, right? And we're trying to walk that line. But also seeing adult children, like that is a gigantic badge of honor. Like raising a kid, getting him through the quagmire. And maybe we were lucky to be able to do it at the time that we did. Social media wasn't huge. They've graduated college. They're becoming young adults. They're where we were when we used to look at the 60-year-old people and say, crap, they're old. They're in their 20s.
Nobody told you you'd be supporting them as adult children? What you going to say? Nobody told you the support would never end.
Job, mentor, or position that we've ever had. So that's my squishy feel-good moment for the podcast today.
For sure. Absolutely.
I got one more that we probably need to do as a separate episode, but it's just technology. Like when we were younger, I don't think we could have I know we couldn't have comprehended where technology has taken us, and I think we're struggling now to figure out, how to incorporate it into our lives. I don't want to revisit Mark's phone device again.
Is this thing on?
But I mean, think about where AI has taken us. Think about I think our generation. We grew up with some tech, but I think we're falling behind pretty quickly, and this thing is going to surpass us. And it's just, even I talked to my son who's in his early 20s. He just shakes his head at me like, try and do something. He's like, Dad, can you just give it to me? He can do it in 10 seconds and I'll fumble with it for, 20 minutes. I think the tech piece is something that we're going to have to, it would be interesting to have a conversation about the tech that was, the tech that is, and the tech that's coming.
Future episode for sure. Nobody told me nobody told us that managing tech is work. Managing all of this stuff is work.
I got an email.
It's crazy.
I got an email on Wednesday when I opened my computer up and it said, you need to change your password. And I'm like, all right, I'll take care of that. I had some lunch and came back on, went on the computer. I was locked out because I didn't change my password. I'm like, I was supposed to do it right then? Like, I couldn't even wait?
Nobody told me.
So I had to call the home office, talk to the tech person. They walked me through. I'm like, I can't get in to change my password. He's like, do you have another device? I'm like, fortunately,
what's the last four of your social?
And then
did he ask you how old you were?
Yeah, I take care of that. It was everything. I take care of that, and then the next day I go to look at my emails on my phone from work, and I'm locked out because I changed the password, and I don't remember what it is because it had to be 15 characters and included a capital, a small cap, a number, and a freaking symbol.
Right. And we already talked about the memory issues we're all having, so how are you going to remember that password? Oh, you can't remember a 15-character password with caps?
Like I said, I have 30-something passwords. I have 30 of them. I just don't.
At least.
And it's a lot. And I don't know how these kids do it. But
it's all, so not to get too far on the tech thing, but all that's going to go away over time. It'll be Face ID. It'll be biometrics. Like we won't have all this crap. Even there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going to evaporate, I think, with all the tech that's coming. But anyway, just a little foreshadowing to the next episode.
Yes.
That and the car episode, which you need to promote just for a second.
Way to put the hook out there, Kevin. Get the hook going for the technology episode.
Tech men version 60 in tech. It's called, this episode's called the contradiction episode.
The oxymoron.
Yeah, the oxymoron. How advancements in tech. So anyway, so as I was saying before, we have a mantra on this show and everybody knows it, and it goes, just remember, when you are a man and you are having a bad day,
nobody
cares.
It does get worse, folks.
Peace.
Later.
Namaste.